Hey YouTube, it's Kristen with Mimi's Blessed Journey. I had some time at work in between some weddings that I wanted to tell you I do have a surgery date. It is August 26th, which is 2 days after my 39th birthday, so happy birthday. That's about 6 weeks out from today. I was hoping to get it 2 to 3 weeks out from today, but that was the earliest that they had, so that's what it was. The appointment went well. They did my vitals. They weighed me. I always weigh the same on the scales at the doctor's offices, and it's in the middle of the day with clothes on, and then it's always different that morning before I go at home. So it's 229 at home on my scale, which is a really expensive foo-foo one. And then there's one, all the ones at the doctor's offices are generally 231, 232. So I'm going with 229 because that's naked with no clothes on in the morning, so I like that one better. But I've maintained that for several weeks. So started at 240 if you're keeping track. So let's see, what did he do at the appointment? The appointment was pretty non-eventful. He just went over my paperwork. He had me lay down, and he felt my ribs, and he was like, okay, we're not going to have any problems with you during the surgery. And I was like, okay, just by feeling my ribs, whatever. And then, oh, he did tell me that he was looking at my sugar, that my report that my doctor sent over from the last doctor's appointment that I had with him, and he said, I've been pre-diabetic for a couple years, and I didn't know how close I was to being diabetic, like the line. And he said, honestly, looking at your sugars, if you weren't having the surgery, your doctor would be probably starting to talk to you about getting on medicine and being on medicine for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, I just didn't know how close I was to being diabetic. But anyways, so that's my surgery date. Everything looked good. Now I'm just waiting for it. She is going to call me in case anything earlier happens because I'm going to have a hard time having a babysitter for a week. My dad is a teacher, and they're back in school in August, so I was hoping to do it sometime in July when he's going to be home, but he's not. So I won't have really a babysitter at hand. So anyways, but that's what it is. It's August 26th. So there's my date. And then I also wanted to do a little bit of Mimi's Story Hour right now. Somebody had recommended this book. It's probably backwards in your thing. Michael Pollan's Food Rules. And it's basically 36 rules that rules, quote unquote, that he likes to keep in mind, just for healthy eating, clean eating, but they're rules that I've never really heard put this way. So I know there's 36 of them. I'm just going to whiz down this list of them because I think it's really interesting. And honestly, this book the rule is on the page. Yeah, let's see. The rule is on the page, and then there's just like a paragraph or two that explains why that rule is what it is. If you want to read the whole thing, get the book. But I will read down the list of the 36 because I think they're really good. And I've never really heard them put this way before. The first one is eat food. Obviously, he's talking about non-food or food, what does he call them? He calls them edible food-like substances, and that's things that has, tons and tons of crap in it, and it looks like food, but it's not really food. So so number 1 is eat food. 2 is don't eat anything your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. Okay, so things like Go-Gurt was one of the things that he said as an example because, just imagine that your great-grandmother's in the store with you looking at things and things that have come out recently. No. Avoid food products containing ingredients that no ordinary human would keep in the pantry. So imagine that you're going to cook it at home, and if you wouldn't have that thing in your pantry, or you can't pronounce it, then don't eat that food. Avoid food products that contain high fructose corn syrup. That one's obvious. Avoid foods that have some form of sugar or sweetener listed among the top 3 ingredients. The things that are in the ingredients are listed by weight. And so if you have the first 3 ingredients, one of them is sugar, that's a lot of sugar to be in any food. Avoid food products that contain more than 5 ingredients. That just means that they're more processed. And, you want to eat as much raw, good, natural food as possible. Avoid food products containing ingredients that a 3rd grader cannot pronounce. That's cute. Avoid food products that make health claims, like if it says lowers cholesterol or helps fight diabetes, or I mean all those kinds of things. Basically, he's saying here that only big, huge food manufacturers have the wherewithal and the FDA secured stuff to be able to make those claims, and those people process the crap out of their food. So don't eat that kind of stuff. Avoid food products with the wordoid light or the term low fat or non-fat in their name. That just means that they're probably substituting carbs or sugar or salt or something like that just to bring the taste back. Avoid foods that are pretending to be something that they're not, like aka margarine is the classic example, imitation butter, imitation sour cream, stuff like that. Avoid foods you see advertised on television. Okay, again, the high processed food manufacturers, the big guys, they're the only ones that have money to advertise on TV, and they process the crap out of their food, and they make it from the most, the cheapest ingredients and that kind of stuff. Shop the peripheries of the supermarket and stay out of the middle. I think we all know that one. Eat only foods that will eventually rot. That's really interesting. Interesting way to think about it, because the more nutritious foods that have like the omega-3s and the nutrients and stuff, those are going to rot, because that's what they do. And if they're going to rot, that means they probably don't have all the staying power, the shelf power that the big food companies put in there, like all the additives and preservatives and stuff like that. So you don't want that stuff. Eat foods made from ingredients that you can picture in their raw state or growing in nature. Like if you look at Pringles or Twinkies or whatever, you can't picture any of those ingredients raw. You know what I mean? Get out of the supermarket whenever you can. It's talking about going to like local farmers markets and stuff like that. Buy your snacks at the farmers market. So then generally you're going to be eating fresh fruit and not chips and sweets and stuff like that. You'll be dried fruit, fresh fruit, nuts, stuff like that. Eat only foods that have been cooked by humans. So food coloring, additives, preservatives, biological novelties, just all kinds of those things are not going to be, a lot of people that process food, they put the additives and preservatives in them. So eat foods that have been cooked by humans. Don't ingest foods made in places where everyone is required to wear a surgical cap. That's interesting. This one kind of sums it up. If it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. That's a good one to keep in mind. It's not food if it arrived through your car window. He's really cute. It's not food if it's called by the same name in every language. Think Big Mac, Cheetos, Pringles. Okay, so that was what was that one? What should I eat? This one's what kind of food should I eat? Eat mostly plants, especially leaves. Those are self-explanatory. Treat meat as a flavoring or a special occasion food. He's not saying don't eat meat at all, but he is saying maybe switch up the proportions, like as much as meat as you would eat, and then little vegetables, eat a little bit of meat and more vegetables. Eating what stands on one leg, mushrooms and plant food, is better than eating what stands on two legs, fowl, which is better than eating what stands on four legs, cows, pigs, and other mammals. That's really cute. Except that one forgets about fish, and I guess fish would probably be at the top of the list. So fish, and then mushrooms and plants, and then fowl, and then pigs, cows, and all that kind of stuff. Eat your colors. I think we all know that. As far as vegetables, drink the spinach water. Anytime you cook vegetables, I've heard of putting it in your plants, but drink it first. You can put it in soups. You can put it in sauces, stuff like that. Eat animals that have themselves eaten well. So when you can, buy organic. Try to do that. It's hard. You never know, but it's what the point he's trying. If you have the space, buy a freezer. That way you can get like a big quality, good quality of meat, what's it called? If you go to like a butcher or something and get something, then you kind of know that the food hasn't been processed and it doesn't have all kinds of preservatives. It hasn't been sitting on the shelf forever. Eat like an omnivore, trying new things. I'm not going to go into that. Eat well-grown food from healthy soil. Obviously, he's talking about organic again. Eat wild food when you can. Don't overlook the oily little fishes. He goes into mercury, high levels of mercury and stuff like that, kind of in the big chain foods. like tuna, swordfish, and shark, because they're endangered and because they have high concentrations of mercury. But the anchovies and mackerel and sardines and stuff like that are pretty well managed and are pretty abundant still, and so those are pretty good sources of omega-3s and stuff like that. Eat some foods. I'm sorry I'm going fast, but there's a lot of these, and I just wanted to get the main. We're halfway through. Eat some foods that have been pre-digested by bacteria or fungus. Okay, this is going to need an answer. Benefits of fermented foods that have been transformed by live microorganisms such as yogurt, sauerkraut, soy sauce, kimchi, and sourdough bread. These foods can be a good source of vitamin B and essential nutrients you can get from plants. Many fermented foods also contain probiotics. Okay, so you get that. Sweeten and salt your food yourself. That way you know how much you're getting and you don't have as much generally. Eat sweet foods as you find them in nature. And it says sugars almost always come packed with fiber, which slows their absorption and gives you a sense of satiety, being satiated before you've ingested too many calories. That's why you're always better off eating the fruit rather than drinking its juice. Okay? Don't eat breakfast cereals that change the color of the milk. That may go without saying. The whiter the bread, the sooner you'll be dead. Flavor the kinds of oils and grains that have traditionally been stone ground. That's a long explanation. Eat all the junk food you want as long as you cook it yourself. He talks about how before things were all packaged, like Twinkies and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can bake cookies, you can make pies and all that kind of stuff, candy, chocolate, if you make it yourself. That way you know what's going in it, and all the energy and time it takes to make it, you're probably not going to be eating it nearly as much as you would if you just go to the store and buy it. So if you really, really want something, go ahead and make it with, as much nutrition as you can, and then you can eat it and don't even feel guilty about it. But you're not going to be making it as much as you would be eating that kind of stuff at the store. Be the kind of person who takes supplements and then skip the supplements. Now, we can't do that, but I know what he's talking about. He's talking about generally people that take supplements live longer. That's because they're watching their health. They usually are types of people that exercise. They drink a lot of water, and they're trying to be more healthy. And it's not necessarily the supplements that's doing it. It's just that they're paying attention to their health. So he says, be the kind of person who takes them, but then don't take them. Just get your vitamins and stuff from the food. Eat more like the French or the Japanese or the Italians or the Greeks. And that he goes into that about how they eat and when they eat. They don't snack. They don't eat in between meals. They eat smaller portions, but they eat whatever they want. Regard non-traditional foods with skepticism. Have a glass of wine with dinner. He goes into that. And then this one, how should I eat? These are some really cute tips. Pay less and eat more. So we all know that organic costs more, but you may need to eat less of it, especially us. We're going to be eating less so we can have some extra money left over in our budget to just eat better quality food, because it really does make a difference. He says eat less. Okay. Stop eating before you're full. We know that. Eat when you're hungry, not when you're bored. We know that. Consult your gut. We know that. Eat slowly. We know that. The banquet is in the first bite. Basically, he's talking about slow down and really enjoy your food, really taste it, and every subsequent bite after the first one or two is not going to taste as good. So really pay attention and get the food experience out of the first bite, and really by the time you're halfway through or whatever, your brain and your taste buds, you're not really thinking about what you're eating. You're thinking about what you're going to do next or where you got to go, what you have to do. So enjoy the food experience and just realize that the first and second bites are really, really important so that you can kind of feel like you've had that experience of eating. Spend as much time enjoying the meal as it took to prepare it. Sometimes we just scarf things down. Buy smaller plates and glasses. We know that one. Serve a proper portion and don't go back for seconds. Breakfast like a king. Lunch like a prince. Dinner like a pauper. Okay? We know that. We know about that one. It says eat meals. Now, I thought that was kind of a ridiculous thing to say, eat meals, but I don't do that. I eat a little bit all day long. I graze. And I find like when I do go out to eat and I eat, there's like 3 or 4 things on my plate, I won't even eat all of them, but I'll eat a little bit of everything. and then I'm done. And then I'm literally not hungry for another 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours, depending on how much I've eaten. But when I graze like I normally do at home and at work, I'm just constantly hungry. So I mean, I don't know if, especially after surgery, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I think that's dangerous. I think I need to do some meal prep and make meals and get all my colors in and all my vegetables in and all the proteins in and everything in, and just make sure that I'm eating 3 times a day and just be done with it. Hopefully I can maintain that. But so eat meals. Limit your snacks to unprocessed plant foods. Otherwise you're going to get salt, fat, sugar, all that kind of stuff. Don't get your fuel from the same place your car does. Don't eat stuff from 7-Eleven. It's just gross. Do all your eating at a table. That's a big one. You know, so many people eat in their cars. So many people eat at work, at their desk. You can eat in front of the TV on the couch, in bed. This is a big one for me. I think if I can manage to do this and really, like, one, make meals, like well-balanced meals, no matter how big or small they are, and then eat at a table, I think I'll definitely get the feeling of eating, and I won't, you know, be tempted to be eating and snacking all day. And if it's at a table, you're mindful. If you're in front of the TV, you're eating and you don't even realize how much you're eating, and you're not getting the emotional meal. You're getting the physical meal, but you're not even enjoying it or paying attention to it. So I think that's a big one. Eating at the table. Try not to eat alone. A lot of us know how it is to try to sneak food and eat it alone because we don't want other people seeing. It says that you eat less when you're with other people, you enjoy your food more when you're with other people, and you're less tempted to overeat because you don't want to be embarrassed. Treat treats as treats. That goes without saying. Leave something on your plate. And plant a vegetable garden if you have space, a window box if you don't. And then the last one is, a cook is one of them. And then this is the last one. Break the rules once in a while. So those are just some really cute rules that I liked. I really liked the eating at the table one, and the legs, like the fish and then plants, and then fowl, and then cows and pigs and everything. Anyway, so I have my surgery date. That was the book that I was reading, Food Rules by Michael Pollan. If you want the explanations from any one of those specific ones, you can ask me in the comments, and I'll tell you why he said that specific thing. But they're just good. I read it all in one night, so it's a really small book, but I just like that. So there you go. Give us give us, like there's anybody else. Give a subscription, and a comment if you liked it. And I don't know how many other updates I'm going to make in the next 6 weeks. I'm just going to be sitting around with my thumb in my nose. I don't know. So I don't know what to do for the next 6 months. 6 weeks. That's what I can do. I can be grateful it's not 6 months. But I hope you guys are all healing and feeling well. If you've just had your surgery, comment, and I gotta go. Thanks, guys.